he is on line 4. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Pete. How are you this afternoon?
Not bad at all. You see the news about the federal Liberal government calling it off when it comes to electoral reform? I know that's not what you called about, but I'm just curious. How do you think about it?
Well, it's disappointing, to say the least, but I guess people are not surprised, because how often do we hear promises made over the years by various parties, various levels of government, and for one reason or another, they always find a reason to change their mind or say they can't do it or they're not going to do it or whatever,
Boy, they couldn't have been stronger in the promise. Yep. I mean, he went well out of his way to say this will be the last first past the post election in Canada.
Yeah.
Now, not so much.
I hear you, Pete, and you wonder why people are cynical about politics and politicians, and that's just another example. But I did want to talk about a related subject, Pete. Before I do, though, happy birthday, Mrs. Drake. I think that's fantastic. 105. Wow, that's amazing.
Good stuff.
But yeah, for sure. But anyway, Pete, I wanted to talk about Democracy Watch and Mr. Conacher. You guys had a story. I think you might have had a couple of stories earlier the week relating to some comments made by Mr. Conacher with Democracy Watch as it related to campaign, expenses and
we're one of the worst.
Money that can be raised by parties and candidates and so on.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that I agree with him 100%. And as a matter of fact, I wrote the Premier, oh my goodness, must be months ago now, about numerous democratic and electoral reforms that I believe that we need here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And amongst those were the very issues that Mr. Conacher raised, whether it be, I think there needs to be strict limits on the amount of money which can be donated to any particular party or any particular candidate, and whether that be during the writ drop or whether it be donating to a party throughout the intervening years, with all these, whether they be a $500 or a $5,000 plate dinner or these golf tournaments and so on. I think there should be restrictions on that amount of money that can be raised. I think there should be restrictions on the amount of money that any party or candidate can spend once the writ is dropped. Now, there are restrictions on that, but they're way, way too high. I mean, each candidate could spend, in the last election, I believe it was around $30,000. And of course, we know that, on the provincial basis, in terms of the party, the parties, or at least the two main parties, are spending probably close to, $1 million on the campaign, crisscrossing the province, flights here and there, big buses, done up and traveling all over the place. Yeah. And all this signage and everything else.
Yeah,
and,
it doesn't make any sense.
Is it necessary?
As long as it's fair, as long as each side is restricted to the same amount, doesn't matter how much you spend. I think that, if anything, it makes it more fair, because parties that are just getting started or are on the small side when it comes to personnel can compete, and you can get your message out with the same effectiveness as a larger party that's been perhaps established for a long time. I don't know. It just seems like ludicrous amounts of money to expect people to come up with, and it's almost like whoever's got the most friends in high places with perhaps more to gain from their support, the better.
Well, absolutely, and that is the point, Pete, and that's why, like, if you look at, of course, we know going in to the last election, you recall the Liberals had a large debt. I can't remember the amount now, but it was like $500,000 or $700,000, whatever it was, that they owed money they had to borrow in order to run in the previous election, because they didn't have the cash, because they weren't the government of the day. And the reality of it is, people should be voting. As far as I'm concerned, they should be voting for the party, and they should be voting for the candidates based on what that individual has to offer, what their experience and their credentials are, what their proven commitment is in that particular district that they're running. It shouldn't be about who has the most signs, who has the biggest signs, who has the glossiest brochures, who is spending thousands of dollars on radio ads and newspaper ads and TV ads. It's not necessary. And as far as the party getting their platform out there, well, I mean, we have leadership debates. We have 2 or 3 of those, or 4 or 5, actually, I think the last time, where the party leaders can, go out there publicly. It's all televised. People can hear what they have to say, and they can make their mind up for who they believe has the best platform and who they think is going to do the best job. But this notion that you've got to be able to spend tens of thousands, actually hundreds of thousands of dollars is absolutely ludicrous, and it's totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be cut out. I think the amounts need to be reduced significantly, as I said, in terms of what can be spent, and the amount of money that any one individual or any corporation and so on can give to a party or give to a candidate. That also needs to be reduced significantly in order to take away any influence or perceived influence, because one is just as important as the other, that may come with those huge donations.
And it's a different world. We have lots of other opportunities when it comes to getting the word out. I mean, we have smartphones, a good video capability. There's all kinds of social media and whatnot now, and it's not difficult to get the word out, put your platform up, and have it available and accessible. Not that all forms of advertising are that costly anyway. I mean, traditional forms, but in any case, point well made, and I think most people would be on side with that, understanding that it clearly is not only a disadvantage for some parties in election, but it is an opportunity for people to have a larger presence when it comes to parties determining how they're going to do things and who they're going to employ to get various services and tasks accomplished. But in any case, sir, I do appreciate the call on that, and I think it's a discussion that has been ongoing for a long, long time, but something about this time, the way it's come up in tandem with the federal discussion, I think it's probably going to stick and I hope bear some results.
Pete, I do as well, and I can tell you that it is certainly my intention over the, I guess the next 3 years, 2.5 years, whatever, I'm going to try to keep this going as best I can. I'm going to continue to raise the issue, and I can also guarantee you that I will be doing everything in my power to make these and other democratic reform issues a key part of the 2019 provincial election campaign.
All right, sir. Thanks again. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Bye.